Hey there, Heather Ho there, it's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another Degrassism video. And again, I'm doing a video based off of a infographic from polls that Effective Royal 9453 did. Remember the Degrassism about the kids at the table, like you want to put 5 characters at a table based off of their like being goths or type A's or band kids and goths and all that. It went over quite well. But yeah, that was Effective Royal again doing his or her work. I think it's a her, but I could be wrong. Regardless of that, Effective Royal did this infographic. You see 20 people with like who's most likely to be the biggest leader, biggest hero, most memorable, and all that. I will tell you, well, Effective Royal did a list off of the votes for the person and all that. That was all that. You'll see the 20 people and all that. And I will tell you if that person deserves to be that, in my opinion, of course. So, in Effective Royals order, let's go with this. Let's go with the most selfish, and that is Tristan. Saying that everyone said that he was the most selfish because of his stuff. When he came into Degrassi, people forget that Tristan was overweight and wanted to lose weight for a guy, so he basically purged himself, and it almost cost him, as he had a panic attack, I think, something like that. Tristan, to me, the selfishness was he wanted to be with Miles and all that, wanted a relationship. He wanted a guy, fair enough. However, in season 13, his selfishness knew no borders. First of all, in the episodes in Paris, he wanted Maya to pretend to be his girlfriend so that Tristan doesn't get found out as being gay. But Maya plays along with it, but then doesn't. Then Tristan enters an inappropriate relationship with Mr. Yates. And Maya's the one who alerts the authorities about it, saying that Mr. Yates was grooming Tristan and also Winston for that matter. It was worried for Tristan's health. Unfortunately, Tristan did not take it that way and basically thought that Maya was just being jealous because Tristan had eyes on Miles. And he tells Maya that you have plenty of guys going for you. Why do you have to destroy my guy? And Maya says, I was concerned for you. You're falling into a bad trap. Unfortunately, though, Tristan does not believe her. And then he forces Maya to grovel to apologize to him before starting a friendship. Tristan just was terrible. And people cheered when he went into that coma during the bus crash in next class. I don't wish comas on anybody, even Jay. So yeah, do I think he's the most selfish? Yes. I can't think of anyone who else is majorly selfish like Tristan. Okay, next is selfless, and that's Spike. I say yes to Spike is most selfless. I think Spike is. Spike sacrificed a lot, especially in the old Degrassi days, in the OG Degrassi. Not Kids of Degrassi Street OG, but Degrassi Junior High and Degrassi High. She got pregnant at such a young age, and everyone around her society just didn't like her at all. She was kicked out of school because the parents raised a fuss saying that, it's glorifying teenage pregnancy, which it doesn't. Shane is of little help. He does give Spike half of his allowance, but then decides to go to a concert and drop acid and fall off a bridge, supposedly, and then is put into a home for mentally deficient people. So Spike can't rely on Shane or his family because Shane's family once wanted Shane to forget about the baby and to put it up for adoption. So she basically was raising Emma by herself, well, with her mom. Spike's dad left them, so that was pissy posse. So regardless of that, she sacrificed a lot for Emma. She became a hairdresser and all that. She could have had a better career in a sense, but she did what she could. Emma seemed to be not appreciative of the sacrifices Spike made throughout Next Gen and all that. But, that's Emma for you. And Emma is not any of these 20 people and all that. But the fact of the matter is she sacrificed a lot and had a good relationship with Snake, whether you like it or not. Next is the villain. And the biggest villain is Luke. I don't know why Luke was made the biggest villain. When we know, everyone freaking knows, it's Rick Murray. Okay, Luke is a villain because of the fact that, you know, what he did to Zoe was terrible alongside Neil. I will get to that when I talk about Becky. So basically, his story will intertwine with Becky's. So when I talk about Becky, I'll talk about Luke's problems. But Luke being the biggest villain, in a sense, yes. But dude, in a way, it's got to be Rick, biggest villain. Guy came back to Degrassi hoping that everyone would forgive him for what he did to Terry in season 3. Not so fast. The school didn't like him. The school wanted him gone, but basically they felt they were powerless, and the students took Emma's orange ribbon campaign incorrectly. Emma does get some fault for starting the campaign, but the fact of the matter is that the students took it not the way Emma wanted, and took it as an excuse to bully poor Rick. Rick gets pushed to his breaking point. Finally, he snaps when Jimmy and Spinner put him in the dumpster. He gets spray cans. He spray paints everyone's cars that tormented him. Unfortunately, Alex gets involved, telling them it was Rick and they want to destroy Rick. So they do the paint and feathers routine. And Spinner and Jay, for that matter, trick Rick into thinking Jimmy had something to do with it. So Rick takes his gun, shoots Jimmy, and then nearly shoots Emma before being shot himself by Sean. But yeah, Rick had to be a villain. I mean, the dude could have easily not done anything. No retaliation. He would have won. He would have won out. People would have said, well, he won because technically he was the bigger man. But no, he wasn't the bigger man. He wanted to kill somebody. But yeah, Luke is not the biggest villain. And that actually leads to the biggest hero is Sean. I think Sean's a big hero. I mean, what other character had massive heroics within Degrassi? I don't think I can recall anyone. But yeah, Sean's the biggest hero. Like, Sean was innocently walking alongside Toby and Emma when Rick approaches him with a gun. Sean does what police officers should be doing and tries to calm the situation down by telling Rick that everything will be fine, that they'll work through it. However, Rick says it's too late, I shot somebody, and then goes after Emma, but Sean rushes forward, gets the gun, a gunshot goes off. And we don't know what happened. Sean's in a bandage. We're like, what the heck happened? And then we soon learned that Sean ended up shooting Rick. And that was just powder residue burning his arm. So Sean, thankfully, doesn't really get injured that much. He's a hero on Monday. Back in Black was a good episode showing how heroic people think he is. Unfortunately, he goes back to Wasaga Beach to get angry at his parents because of an interview they did. And that stupid Rachel the reporter pressing things. She was a nosy media person. And I did a Degrassism on how Rachel's efforts at being nosy were actually underrated and how she was a bad guy in a sense. But yeah, Sean confronts his parents, finds out that they sent him to Toronto because they were worried he was going to go to jail over how he deafened Tyler. Sean gets in a water ski thing accident. Tyler, the boy he deafened, actually is a lifeguard and saves Sean's life. Thank goodness for that. Sean decides to stay at Wasaga Beach to deal with his PTSD, which is fair and all that, but it leaves Ellie and Emma high and dry. They both couldn't recover from it. Sean comes back in season 6, then leaves in season 7 to join the army, and leaves Emma high and dry for another time. But yeah, he is a freaking hero. Overrated is Craig. I am going to agree with him being overrated. Overrated. Stump, 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 stump. Yeah, I think Craig is overrated. I mean, okay, Craig's a decent character. And when he came to Degrassi, he was portrayed as this sympathetic character. He was into photography. Agree. I don't know why I struggle with that word. And he was taking pictures of Emma and Angie, who was Joy's kid. And people were like, why? Craig, unfortunately, has an abusive father who beats him up almost for no good reason, as it seemed. And Craig wanted to play chicken with a train. Sean saves his butt because of that. Sean and Emma tell Joey that Craig's dad is the problem, why Craig hangs around Joey's family. And the picture and the pieces fall in place. Craig's mom actually left the family and married Joey. And Angela is, of course, Joey and I'm blanking, Julia's. and Craig is technically a stepchild to Joey. That's why he hangs around there. Joey takes Craig in. Craig's dad manages to get Craig back, but then Craig's dad doesn't change his stripes and then dies off screen in a car crash. Craig is conflicted. He's happy his tormentor's gone, but he's sad that his dad's dead. Terry helps him explain and figure it out. But yeah, Craig being in that love triangle in season 3, when it could have easily been avoidable, he just picked Manny or Ashley. He got Manny impregnated. He wanted the baby and all that. It was, and he didn't tip his hand saying that that was his family because his parents are both dead, and Joey, well, he doesn't treat Joey that well, which is stupid. So yeah, Craig was in that stupid love triangle. Ashley, for her part, was blamed for staying with Craig and all that, and I think so. But yeah, Craig was bipolar. It is a partial excuse for what he did, but it's not really an excuse. Craig exhibits wild mood swings, especially when Ashley wants to go to England. He lives in the boiler room for a couple of days. Yeah, his stuff with women, especially Manny, makes him overrated. I think he is overrated. Underrated, according to the infographic, is Anya. Um, I don't know. I think there's a lot of underrated characters. I can't really talk about the most underrated character. Um, hmm, that's a good question. Who's underrated? I think Toby is kind of underrated. Everyone just wants Toby to go away, but I think Toby was good for the show. Toby was going to be a breakout star, my thought, after watching season 1 of Degrassi Next Gen, taking the attention away from Emma. But basically, the writers gave him some weird storyline. Season 2, the eating disorder one that was not really discussed past that episode, and then his obsession with Kendra and trying to make Kendra good, but Kendra wants some space. Toby is scared of space because he's scared that Kendra's going to break up with him. I think Anya is something else. I don't think that Anya is the most underrated. She's the most something else. But yeah, I think Toby, to my mind, was underrated, and the writers just basically blew him off. They didn't even include him in the opening credits in season 7, which was pathetic. Friendly is Adam, and I'll be perfectly honest. I don't know too many friendly characters, quote unquote. But yeah, I agree. I'll go with Adam being friendly. I agree full-heartedly. Like Adam, was transferred from middle school. He was female named Gracie who wanted to transition into a male named Adam, and all that. Of course, Audra was not too pleased with the sex change. I think that Audra was just trying to please her parents, who were not happy with Adam transitioning. And it was a good storyline that Degrassi brought in this a trans character in season 10. I think it was the first in Canadian history, if I remember correctly. But yeah, Adam was very friendly. Like Adam didn't push people down. He was decent and all of that. He was friendly towards Eli and Claire when he talks about how, you know, he's a girl, but he feels like a guy between the ears, and Eli and Claire accept him for who he is. Yeah, I think Adam was a pretty friendly character who stupidly ended had his demise in a texting and driving accident. I know that Degrassi wanted to make texting and driving a big part of things, but it just didn't work out that way, in a sense. The most unfriendly is Hunter. I think you're right. I think they're right. I don't think he's a villain, but I think he's unfriendly. Like Hunter was introduced as Frankie's twin in season 13 of Degrassi Next Gen, and then he creepily buys photos of the Spirit Squad in season 14, which is fine, but one of the pictures involves his sister Frankie. It's like, dude, that's your sister, and your twin sister at that. Twin incest, anyone? But anyway, yeah, Hunter gets accused of the Degrassi nudes thing, but they clear her. But in Next Class season 1, he was at his absolute worst. After trying to do a gaming club, and then the student council was not too pleased with how the female models in the game were, even though Hunter said that that's how it was set up. Hunter makes some bad jabs at girls and all that, and gets himself and the gaming club kicked to the curb. Like Snake tosses out the gaming club. Hunter doesn't help his case by getting mad at Maya, who Goldie, I think, uses as a mouthpiece, inadvertently getting Maya into trouble and with Hunter, and Hunter bringing a gun to try to bring down the feminists. But thankfully, Miles, his brother, saves him from himself and from harm. Hunter goes to a psych ward for a couple of weeks and all that, and is allowed back into Degrassi. A little controversially, but I think Hollingsworth had Mayor Hollingsworth had a hand in it. But yeah, Hunter just was upset, especially with Yale transitioning to being non-binary. Hunter didn't know how to present Yale. Is Yale a he, a she, or a they? He wanted to know, and he was straight. He wanted to know if a girl. I don't think he was going to bash Yale if Yale identified as a boy, because Hunter would have been understanding. But yeah, everyone thought that Hunter was just misogynistic. In a sense, he was. In a sense, he wasn't. Let's go to confident. And they say Bianca was the most confident. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I would go with Liberty, in fact, to be more confident than Bianca. I like Bianca and all that. And Bianca, I think, was more confident after the whole thing with Anson, that, she killed Anson with a rock after he was going after Drew. And then with Audra's help, Bianca became a good role model and got out of the gang life and all that. But I think confidence would be Liberty. Although Liberty would be probably a bad move in a sense, I don't think Liberty was that bad. She was a confident girl. She was type A and all that. She had the Napoleon tendencies, and they showed that in season 2 when she was manager of the floor hockey team, dressing as Napoleon and trying to do Napoleon tactics. Literally. But the fact of the matter with Liberty is that she was always confident. She knew what she was doing. She said she didn't really need help from anybody, although her parents kind of have to be blamed for this seemingly egotistical thing and all that. Liberty, I think, was way more confident in herself, despite things, because she was an emotionless robot. Insecure is Ellie. Do I agree? I was thinking about Anya, but Anya to me actually fits another category. So I'm going to just leave. I'm going to say technically Anya is the most insecure, but I think that Ellie was insecure. Girl went through a lot, not just with the whole Craig situation and her becoming a pick me girl for Craig in season 6 and all that, and then almost drowning herself in the Pacific Ocean over Craig rejecting her. What I feel in my mind is that, it goes way back. It's not just the girl trouble. It's the fact that in season 3, her dad is a colonel in the army and goes to Afghanistan to fight in the war. Her mom becomes a drunk and doesn't do much with herself. Ellie has to take care of her mom and herself. She's got a co-op job. She's trying all that. And then she takes a protractor. No, sorry, a compass. Thank you. Yeah, a compass to try to make herself feel better over the pressures of dealing with her mom and everything else. Fortunately, though, Paige gets Ellie to try to open up to Sove, and Ellie does. And, she's still a little insecure. And with the fact that Sean moves back to Osaka Beach, leaving her high and dry with student housing in season 4, didn't help matters. Thankfully, though, her mom did help her get better. Next is Brave, and that's Becky. I think Becky is the most brave. I agree with that sentiment. You know how I talked about Luke? Well, this is how Luke is. So anyway, Zoe gets raped by Luke and Neil at a party. Becky happens to see the video for some strange reason. I don't know why they wanted to tape themselves doing it. That's kind of stupid. Becky decides to go to the police with this investigation. Luke and Neil are in trouble. Becky's parents have a little help. Basically, they wanted her to lie to everyone, saying that, Becky must have misunderstood and all that. They wanted to make sure Luke was out of prison, stayed out of prison. A lot of people say the whole Christianity thing, that basically you have to honor your brother and all that stuff. It could also be because Luke's a ice hockey prospect and they want Luke to do well, and they feel this prison sentence, if you will, or Julie will ruin his career. They try to pressure Becky into lying on the stand. Becky's conflicted by it. Luke even tells her about Becky should protect him because he told his grandmother that he lost the grandmother's ring down the sink. But Becky says that no, technically I confessed everything. I was the one who did it. Becky tells on Luke, gets Luke and Neil in Drew 2 years. Her parents refuse to talk to her. The family doesn't talk to each other and all that. And Becky's upset about everything. I mean, her parents couldn't really kick her out because they were worried about what Becky could do behind closed doors, telling people that, they were trying to get her to say bad things. And I bet the dad lost his church job because of that. Coward is Johnny. Um, Honestly, this is practically next gen / next class. If this was to include Degrassi High and Junior High, I say no. Johnny's not the biggest coward. In the next class, in the next gen thing, is he a coward? I think maybe so. I can't really think of anyone else who would be a bigger coward. So, by proxy, Johnny is the biggest coward. I think Johnny is kind of a coward in a sense. Especially to do with the fact that he was an accessory to Drake Lempley stabbing JT in the aorta. Now, Drake and Johnny were going to cause trouble with JT because of the war between Lakers and Degrassi, thanks to JT dating Mia, who was Nick's big former squeeze. Of course, Nick was part of the Degrassi Lakers mafia, if you will. And practically, we don't find out what Nick's role was in the whole stabbing and all that. But my theory is that he kind of sent Johnny and Drake to do something about it, but didn't want him killed. JT killed. He just wanted JT maimed. Nick probably went to jail or juvie because of that, because of conspiracy. Johnny isn't really a coward because I think he did a plea deal with the cops getting Drake in trouble. It's weird how Johnny didn't really get much in trouble, but I think it was the plea deal. But yeah, he tried to get away from his problems. He does tell Ellie when Ellie runs away and finds Johnny in the university that you can't run away from your troubles because I did so. Because I was accessory to a guy who stabbed a Degrassi guy for something heinous, for something stupid. But for coward, number one would be Claude for damn sure. Claude and Degrassi High dated Caitlin, and they both decide to spray paint on a factory that's going to deal with nukes and all that. I thought it was animal testing for the longest time, but no, it's nukes. And unfortunately, Caitlin gets stuck, and the night watchman catches her, but Claude doesn't do anything. He just runs away and then tells Caitlin not to say anything about him running away because, the watchman's going to finger him and he's going to get in trouble too. Because he's like, his parents will kick him out. Why Caitlin decided not to tell on Claude and get Claude in trouble? Like, she had every right to get Claude in trouble, but she didn't. And then Claude, of course, spends a year trying to get Caitlin back and doesn't deserve it, and then kills himself, and partially to try to get under Caitlin's skin, but Joey sees through that ruse and tells Caitlin don't let him have any ideas. All right, so next up is the funny group. JT, the most funny. Yeah, JT was the most funny, that's for sure. He was the epitome of a class clown and all that. Dave, I think, could try too, but maybe he tries too hard. But I think JT. Yeah, in season 1, he ran a joke campaign against Ashley to be student council president at Toby's behest. He liked to be a joker. He was Toby's best friend and all that. He was a little immature, especially to Hazel Ackles when she was a science teacher in season 2. He would mature more in season 5 once Liberty was pregnant with their kid. But yeah, JT was a clown and all that. Unfortunately, there was a dark side to JT, and that was his friendship with Toby. Especially in season 4, he actually decides to be with Danny and Liberty, to be friends with Danny, Liberty's brother, more so than Toby, which led Toby to easily go under Rick's clutches as a friend. Manny chews JT out over this situation, and JT realizes that she's right. So I think that JT is the most funny. Yes, I say so too. I think he was clever and all that. And the class clown. He matured in season 5 when Liberty was pregnant. but everything turned out to be bad as he stole from the pharmaceutical place to try to get OxyContin to buy stuff. Liberty tells him to stop. The drug dealer doesn't like JT trying to get out of this mess. JT decides to overdose, but Jay saves his butt. But yeah, I think so. Uptight is Claire. I think Claire is the most uptight. Yes. I say Claire is the most uptight. I agree. Emma could possibly be there or Maya, but Emma would be closer to uptight or even Liberty. But I think it's Claire because of Claire's beliefs and all that. I think that Claire was a decent person in everything she did. But the fact of the matter is that she was in a Christian family and all that. That wanted her pressure with religious stuff. And her stuff with Eli and her relationship with Jake, she was uptight, she was obnoxious and all that. But you can partially blame the cancer that she suffered because, they gave her terrible storylines. Like, they just wanted to feed Claire with the worst storylines possible, the writers did. And Ashlyn Paul did a good job handling them. But yeah, she just seemed to tick people off and all that. Like, put people off in such a way. Emma, too, in a sense. But I think Claire was more uptight. A leader is Holly J. Yeah, she was the biggest leader and all. Well, let me think. Maybe Paige? Well, technically, Paige is on the infographic. Yeah, so I say Holly J was the biggest leader. I also say Paige, but yeah, Holly J was bossy, especially to Anya, and wanted to rule the school. She had a good role as student council president in season 8, but that was because the chef had a thing for her and made her student council president. In a sense, yeah, she was a leader. She was bossy, type A, and all that stuff. She wanted to follow in her sister Heather's footsteps and all that. I wish someone gave her the line. At least Heather Sinclair was a decent human being. You're not. That would have been funny. But anyway, yeah, Holly J does that, being a leader. She does have her downfalls, especially with her kidney problems. But yeah, she just wanted to be a leader and all that. She influenced Tristan to do his student council presidency like hers, although it did tick people off. Follower is Dave. I disagree full-heartedly with that. I think personally, Dave as a follower, I don't think so. Anya is the follower. Yeah, I know Anya was made to be underrated, but no, I disagree with the infographic. Anya is totally a follower. I think in a sense that, you know, she was under Holly J's shadow for so long and all that, and she easily let Holly J manipulate her. Like, Anya tried to step out of Holly J's shadow, and Holly J just basically tried to guilt her out of things and all that. I know for yeah. So anyway, yeah, Anya was such a follower. She just wanted love and all that. She wanted to be with Sav, but Sav had his mind on his arranged marriage in a sense. She just wanted to make things work, and it didn't. She dated Owen. She had a relationship with her mother's doctor, Dr. Chris, which was stupid. Like, Anya was so pretentious and so worried that she would date Dr. Chris. And then she goes to the army because she doesn't have any answers for anything. And then, she follows orders. That's kind of stereotypical, but that's the way it goes. Forgettable, the infographic says blue. Personally, I say no. Forgettable? Yeah, he's forgettable. I know he was there in season 9 as Holly J's boyfriend and didn't get much credos. But I think like Kendra was forgettable too. Like, Kendra was a decent character, but CTV executives had some problems with her, I think, and wanted her kicked to the curb. Forgettable. Well, Chester would be forgettable too. I mean, Chester appeared in like 3 random episodes of season 4, and then poof, he's gone. It didn't really help anything. Memorable, Manny. Oh yeah, she was memorable. I agree full-heartedly with that. I think that definitely she was memorable. Like, Manny just wanted to be hot. She didn't want to be cute. She wanted to be hot. Especially in season 3 when she changed her image in a way to try to track Sully thanks to Paige. Emma doesn't find that all that alluring. and she and Manny basically have an on again, off again friendship in season 3. But yeah, Manny was there. She was a Spirit Squad member. She was preppy. She wanted to be with a boy badly. It affected her mental health in a sense. You know, JT, Craig, a lot of guys basically used her and all that. Emma tried to protect Manny from herself, but it didn't work out that way. Manny thought it was pretentious. But yeah, I think she's definitely memorable. Like, people like her and all that. They talk about the bung outside the pants still to this day. It was like, boy, that's 20 plus years ago. King and Queen, Paige and Spinner. I totally agree in a sense. I think everyone was right. Paige and Spinner are definitely the king and queen. Well, they dated each other too, which makes things even more awkward. Sorry, but that's the way I feel. But yeah, Paige definitely was Degrassi royalty and all of that. She was a mean girl who had Ashley, Terry, and Hazel under her power at once. Of course, Ashley makes a mistake in season 1 and they want to punish her for it. Paige pressures Terry and Hazel not to come close to Ashley because they'll be outcast themselves. So unfortunately, they go under Paige's shadow still. And Rick was right about Paige pushing Terry. He was right about one thing and one thing only. That was it. But yeah, Paige was a mean girl who was competing with Heather Sinclair to be the queen bee of Degrassi and all that. She unfortunately met a demise when she was deflowered by Dean. Well, raped. I guess I said that. But anyway, yeah, Dean. It took 2 seasons till she finally got her trial, but unfortunately, lack of evidence meant Dean was off scot-free and Paige went free-falling. She crashed Spinner's car into Dean's car as a way of revenge. She then decides to date Mr. Olander, even though he's a student teacher and it was wrong and all that. And worst of all for Paige is that she was basically protecting him, and that pissed me off in a sense. But Olander breaks up with her, gives her drugs because of it, and Paige then falls into Alex, and then Palex is born. It's a good relationship, but it felt like Paige turned to girls because of the way the guys just mistreated her in season 4. Dean getting off scot-free with a rape, Spinner by lusting after Manny, Rick coming back to Degrassi and causing troubles, and Olander causing her troubles. That's just how I feel. But yeah, Paige is definitely the queen bee of Degrassi with every character, all that. Emma could be there, but people hate on Emma, so yeah. And Spinner, is he the king of Degrassi? Yeah, a lot of polls I've done said Spinner is the best character around. I say so too. He had his major faults. He was kind of a bully, but in season 4, he took it up a notch by being a massive bully towards Rick and trying to get Rick out of the school. It's understandable. Spinner gets a partial pass because, he was there. He saw Terry's bloody head when, and Rick with blood on his hands after what Rick did to Terry and wanted to go after Rick and beat him up and all that, but his mom stops him. Spinner had a connection. He wanted to try to hurt Rick for Terry's sake and all that. And he had a few good rights, but no. But unfortunately, things go awry. He brags about the whole paint and feathers, which is the stupidest thing you could do. Why would you brag about it? Jimmy basically is going to narc on him, so Spinner's freaking out, and Abe convinces him to go along with a ploy to get Rick to go after Jimmy. Not knowing he had a gun, of course, but to have Rick stop being Jimmy's friend. Rick then shoots Jimmy and then goes after Emma, which Sean thwarts. Spinner feels guilt and wants to confess to everyone, but Jay tells him either outcome, he was your best friend, talking about Jimmy. Spinner makes an admission to tell Jimmy the truth, although it took 3 months to do so, which was stupid. Spinner lost everything, school, friends, everything. He was allowed to come back in season 5. He made his mission to get Jimmy to talk to him and to get everyone to respect him again, and it worked. He bided his time. He didn't push for everything. But yeah, through Spinner's many bad traits, including getting testicular cancer, Spinner is definitely the king. And that's your infographic thingy, my Bobby. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.